Jonathan Taylor. This is the never-ending saga with the Indianapolis Colts. So Jonathan Taylor wants an extension. There's reports, we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, about how there was reports of him having injury issues. He says he didn't. Jim Irsay gives some very questionable comments regarding whether or not the world even matters if Jonathan Taylor or Jim Irsay are even in it. And now you have the Colts, the newest developments. They have given Jonathan Taylor the okay to seek a trade and see what his market looks like, which is a big topic regarding the bigger conversation of running backs getting paid or not. I will start with Devin. Devin, your reaction to this news, and do you think Jonathan Taylor does end up on a contender in the long run, or does he stay in Indianapolis?
This news is like wow, number one, because number two, I feel like Jonathan Taylor will end up on another team. I think the Colts has really put themselves in the pickle. I think the Colts is stupid for even putting your best player in this type of predicament. Jonathan Taylor is the premier running back in my eyes. I feel like Jonathan Taylor is a top 5 running back in my eyes, and I feel like you should try to keep your best player on your team because everybody else has left. Andrew Luck has left. T.Y. Hilton has left. And we really don't know, other than the future quarterback that the Colts have, who's the real star on that team, really. So I think that the Colts really put themselves in a real bind because, like I said, he's the top 10 running back, top 5 running back, in my opinion. And whatever team that gets him is going to be a contender. And I think the Bills should be in that contention to trying to get him. I think if the Bills will go out here and put a nice trade package to get Jonathan Taylor, I think they will put themselves back in contention and not be underneath the Jets, in my opinion.
That's interesting. And then the fact that you've already got the Jets above the Bills, and the Buffaloes struggled for a long time with their running game, so that could potentially be a huge addition. And by the way, the Colts are asking for either a first-round pick, which seems a bit much just in terms of the running back market, as John Jones flashing the Jets there is potentially the best team in the division, or something that amounts to a first-round pick. That's very vague. I don't really know what that means, but we'll see. Barry, your thoughts on Jonathan Taylor? You've been outspoken as I about how the running back position and its value has declined drastically over the past few years. Your thoughts on the Jonathan Taylor situation? Does he get traded? Does he stay in Indy?
Yeah, I think the chances are very good for him to get traded. I mean, you got Jim Irsay saying that, running backs pretty much don't have value, and then all of a sudden they're attaching a first round pick to him. It's very, very funny in regards to how they want to do that. The problem that the Colts are having, and the problem that a lot of teams have with this particular dynamic, is that if your running back is your best player, you have a problem. And this is what their problem is that when your running back is your best guy, your team is not normally balanced and you have some issues. So are they going to be able to get value for him? We'll see. I don't know any team that's willing to, give up a couple of draft picks for him. We'll see, because also you're going to have to pay him on top of that. So there's a lot of things, there's a lot of different factors that come into play for Jonathan Taylor. I mean, you see Josh Jacobs just pretty much end his hole out. He's pretty much going to cave. Jonathan Taylor doesn't, and he's going to get shipped out. And we'll see who comes up. It's I don't know what the market is for him. That's the problem. Is that there's not a clear cut favorite for who would take a Jonathan Taylor. That's the issue.
And you think about it, you make a great point about Jim Irsay saying it doesn't matter, and then attaches, hey, we want a first-round pick for him. It's talking out of both sides of your mouth. It's very inconsistent with what what the message has been to this point about Jim Jonathan Taylor.
It makes sense.
It's exactly. I don't think we give Jim Irsay enough heat for how all over the place and dysfunctional he's turned the Colts into. Peyton Manning and Andrew Luck, I think, masked that for a very long time, and now you're sort of seeing what it's come to in the past half decade. John Rivera, your thoughts on Jonathan Taylor? Does he get traded? Who does he get traded to? Maybe the Jets. I don't know. The Jets are getting everybody, but or does he stay in Indianapolis?
No. Like you said, Devin had a good point. I think the best team will be Buffalo. I've been saying Buffalo to get a good running back for the last few years. That's all they've been missing over there. Like you said, and Barry, like you said, it's definitely a tough market right now for running backs in general. But it's a game of bluff right now, right? You got a rookie quarterback. What's a rookie quarterback's best friend? To hand that ball off, right? And if your best player is a running back, it's all right. Derrick Henry been the best player in Tennessee for about the last 6 years, right? I think that'll work, but I think at the end of the day, it's whoever calls bluff first, man. Like, say you got a rookie quarterback and you need that running game to rely on, man. He's a top 5 quarterback in the league. So it's whoever blinks first, man. I think he should actually hold out. and do it like an Emmitt Smith and let them struggle. Because they're going to struggle regardless, too. But they're going to struggle real bad if they don't got Jonathan Taylor there. And that's what I think he should do personally. But I think it's a game of bluff right now, The owner definitely, like I said, you always have a rift with the owner and a star player anyways, and always come back, y'all guys like the Dallas Cowboys, what some of you guys like the Dallas Cowboys. A couple years back with that Zeke Elliott, he got that contract earlier. And if you want to compare careers at this point, Jonathan Taylor had a way better career so far, in the first 2 years than Ezekiel Elliott. And, Jerry Jones gave him the bag. So I think at the end of the day, they're not going to get a first-round pick at this moment for the running back. If it was, beginning of the offseason, maybe. But right now, they're not going to get value. So it's whoever call each other bluff. And I think he will still be on Indy this season.
We think all the time about the fact how in these negotiations, how billionaires often have more power, but oftentimes, at least we've seen, you mentioned with the Cowboys, John, and the millionaires have gotten the better end of the deal in the long run. They've, they haven't had to compromise, at least in the long run. The millionaires haven't, and the billionaires have.